Most people approach money and life the wrong way. They're constantly looking for shortcuts, things to get results fast, and they skip the foundation. And this is with money, business, fitness, YouTube. People think they're smart, that they know more, they can outsmart the system. So they engage in activities to try to get rich quickly. Let's start trading. Let's use risky debt. Let's start taking enhancements. Whatever thing that will get you there faster. Everybody's trying to find shortcuts, trying to be a genius. And unfortunately, it's going to cost many people. They make emotional decisions based on fear of missing out, bad advice, social media hype culture, or just because they naively think they know more than they do. You will lose all your money doing this, and you'll smile while doing it because you'll think you're smarter than everyone else. I've seen it happen, and today I want to make sure it doesn't happen to you. I, Wylearn, know I'm not special. I do not have information to outsmart the system. In many ways, I am an idiot. So I stopped trying to get rich quick and traded that life for one where I can build wealth slowly. My ego died a long time ago, and I need you guys to drop yours. Today I'm breaking down why I stopped trying to outsmart the market and how that decision made me wealthier, calmer, smarter with my money, and just better off in life. The minute you stop looking for shortcuts, you can understand and win the game much more easily. Things like trading, taking short-term views are usually bad for you and could cost you money and your sanity. So I hope you enjoy this Wylearn Wednesday. I want this to be a simple reminder to take the long-term view and not to get too fancy. A few things before starting. I'm not attacking all traders. There are some people who are, very smart, have figured out some legit strategies, but I'm very confident that for most people, trading is a losing strategy, and I'm going to explain why in this video. This is also not financial advice. I'm just a guy from Wisconsin who likes talking about these topics. These are just my opinions. Let's go get into it. Social media is littered with people who claim that you can get rich quick. Like, do this thing, buy this trading course, buy this crypto. I hear Fartcoin's going to rip up next week. I remember in 2021 during the GameStop run-up and when mainstream popularity of trading came to be, there's definitely some lucky people who got rich quick. They had huge gains, like I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars within a few months, and it was tempting to try to get in on the fun. Everybody's winning. But then there's the flip side. I would look at Wall Street bets and it was like a graveyard of people losing their life savings immediately due to risky behavior. And these stories baffled me. Like, are the winners, which one's more common? Are the people who are always winning or the people who are posting their losses? Which is more realistic to happen to you? Let me tell you a few stories of people I know in my personal life who I'm not super close with, but I know they got rich quick and lost almost all of it. Let's take the first story. I knew a guy, he was a pretty normal guy most of his life, working normal jobs, never had a high salary, but early on he was dabbling in NFTs, like way before they were popular. And he only bought what were NFTs at the time because he liked this one video game. Well, fast forward to 2020, 2021, and his very small investment turned into millions easily within a few years. And he accumulated really a stupid amount of wealth off this trend, like easily in the $5 to $10 million range. He got rich quick. I remember him mentioning that he sold one of his NFTs for over $100K and that he had many more that he was holding on to. I noticed in his lifestyle that he was doing much more travel, he was buying nicer things, he was brushing shoulders with some famous people. But here's the problem. He was very reluctant to sell any of his holdings. People in his life were advising him, like, just sell half of it because you'll get to keep some of it and you'll easily have a few million that you could just put away into something safe, collect $150,000 a year off of that risk-free and never have to work again. But he would always say, like, no, it got to this much. It's going to be much more. I think I'm going to be worth $100 million soon. So you can guess where this goes. He kept all of it in really high-risk NFTs, and then the NFT market crashed, and his net worth plummeted back into the six figures. And it's a sad thing. Like, sure, he's still doing way better than most people his age, but he got greedy. He could have left the system and not had to work a day in his life again. But he scaled up his lifestyle, assumed he'd keep getting rich quickly, and it cost him. And I've seen that happen in the crypto space with at least a handful of people where they got greedy. They just thought that they would keep running up in the short term, and they lost a 6 or 7 figure amount of money on paper, which is crazy. I think if you're not happy keeping like 1 million, 2 million, like you're not going to be happy at 10, 20. Another person who was a friend of my dad's quit his job to try day trading in his late 40s. He thought he was smart. He thought he was going to outsmart the market and get rich. And this totally blew up in his face. He lost some of his life savings and had to return to work after about a year. These are all examples of people trying to outsmart the system, thinking they're better, and you're just not. Sometimes you're just not better. That's just the truth. People are just too damn impatient. They think they have the key to the universe and they don't have to put the work in. And it costs them. You need to build a strong foundation for accumulating wealth. And these guys had no interest or any knowledge in diversification, keeping your money, avoiding high-risk behavior, or even like basic things like lifestyle inflation. You also need the patience. You need to go through the grind because the grind molds you into someone who knows how to keep money. I don't want these stories to happen to you. I see this and I want to be different. I want to be a magnet where money comes my way and it just sticks to me and grows and it never leaves me. You don't need to overthink these strategies or get fancy. Like this year in 2025, we saw a bit of a stock market crash due to the tariffs. And this was the first year that despite my portfolio was literally down 80K at one point, I was really calm because I'm confident in the long term. I've seen this happen before. I'm not trying to trade in and out of positions. And I do firmly believe that with tech advancements and the rise of AI and all this innovation we have, we could see explosive growth in the next few decades for long-term stockholders. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but that's just my opinion. And I suck at timing the market, so I just invest and forget about it. And because I didn't sell anything, my portfolio literally went from 380K in the worst point of the year to now we're closing in on 450K with all my investments and continued stock appreciation. It's nothing fancy, but it works. And the best part is I literally didn't do anything. I just watched it rise and I didn't have to stress at all. So let's dive into some data and philosophies on kind of the whole trading versus investing ordeal. I'm convinced that a lot of people don't know what the difference between trading and investing is. They kind of mix them up or think they're the same, and they're really not. They're very different. Or they downplay the risks of trading because it feels more exciting or more alpha or just more in control. Here's the simplest way I can explain it. Trading is trying to make money from short-term price movements. In a stock or in crypto, it's fast, it's emotional. You're trying to outguess the market before everyone else does, often dozens or hundreds of times a year to just do better than that historical 7 to 10% return. Investing, on the other hand, is much more boring. It's owning a piece of something that you believe will be more valuable in 5, 10, 20 years, and then letting time do the heavy lifting. When you trade, you're competing against full-time professionals, bots, hedge funds, and institutions that have more data, faster execution, fewer emotions, and way more money. You're trying to time the market, and most people are terrible at that, including me. When you invest, you're betting on long-term progress of business, innovation, and human productivity. You don't need to be right today or even next week. You can literally buy at the worst time sometimes, but if you stay in the game long enough and let compound growth do its job, you should be just fine. And here's the part that, I think people need to get right. Like, trading feels cool. It feels like you have control, like you're making money fast, and investing seems really boring and slow, but only one of them actually builds wealth consistently over time. I mean, trading seems sexy. You're making moves, you're watching charts, you're drawing dinosaurs on charts. You feel like a genius when things are green, but the truth is that trading is really rigged against you, and most people don't realize that till they lose large sums of money. You're not just trying to predict the future once. You're trying to do it consistently over time, faster than people with way more tools and experience, and that's hard. Volatility is not your friend. The market does not move in a straight line. It zigzags, crashes, spikes, and one day traders can get eaten alive trying to predict moves like that or trying to predict company earnings. Maybe Trump tweets something weird that day and the market swings wildly. You can't predict that. In fact, research out of Brazil found that 97% of day traders lost money over the long term and only 1.1% earned more than a bank teller. A study from the University of California also showed that active traders underperform the market by 6.5% annually on average, mostly due to emotional decisions, bad timing, and fees. In my mind, there's just too many variables that go into each day to make trading something viable long term. There's also ways you can make trading much worse. You could start trading on margin, which just basically means you're borrowing money to increase your position, and every dip is amplified. Like if your trade drops 50% on margin, you're not just losing your money. Now you're going into debt. And that's how people get margin called and wiped out of their entire position overnight. So a great rule of thumb is to only invest with money that's yours in the markets and just don't take these shortcuts. It's far more risky than anything you need to be doing right now. Options trading is often pitched like a smart strategy. Like people are selling their courses on these, but most beginners kind of use it like roulette. It's really no different than gambling. And when you buy them without understanding like the implied volatility, the Greeks, the actual math behind the pricing, you're buying a lottery ticket that's probably going to expire worthless, and you're making the guy rich who's selling the options courses. You should only be doing these things if you have extremely sound knowledge of how they work, and even then, I'm not sure you should be doing them. When it comes to trading, the house always wins. Like, why do you think Robinhood celebrates when you make a trade? It's because they're making money off of your activity, not your success. They turn around when you make an order and sell your order flow to high-frequency traders. So the more you trade, the more they profit. As Warren Buffett once said, the stock market's a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. And right now, companies are betting on your impatience, and it's a good bet for them because nobody's patient. Even things like crypto, it's very new, it's very risky. We don't know where a lot of it's going. I personally hold a little bit, but I'm not going to put my whole house on crypto. We just don't know where it's going. That's another risky get rich quick thing as well that you got to be careful of. It's also easy to get complacent in good times, and I would consider now good times in the markets. Like everyone looks smart right now. But here's just a stat that'll make you rethink everything. According to JP Morgan, holding a diversified portfolio for just one day gives you about a 50-50 chance of making money. But if you hold it for 10 years, that probability rises to over 95%. That's why long-term investing works, because it takes luck and timing out of the equation. So when it comes to people trying to time these things, most people lose. Like 80% of active traders quit within 2 years. Only 13% remain profitable after 5 years. And even the few winners often don't outperform a basic index fund over decades. So it's like, why would I play this game with such a low probability of winning? Like, you really think you can outsmart the companies and the hedge funds with 8 full-time math PhDs who are trading against you? It seems like a no-brainer to me to do the thing that is not only less work, but has a higher probability of long-term success. That's why I invest slowly, consistently, without trying to be a genius, because I'd rather be wealthy than right a few times. The boring path is usually the way. People avoid it because it's not flashy, it's not sexy, and nobody wants to get rich slow, but that's exactly why it works. The boring path lets you sleep well at night. You're not glued to charts. You're not panicking when things dip. You're just slowly building. You're stacking skills, assets, relationships, income streams, and your energy's just better suited going towards real things in your real life instead of worrying about trading. I mean, I've seen this play out in my own life so many times. Like, consistency is everything. Consistency beats intensity every single time, whether it's index fund investing, building a YouTube channel, grinding out freelance software work. It could be anything. I'm going to continue to play the long game in my portfolio, my weekly work, just knowing it's going to pay off in the future and I won't be risking huge amounts of money along the way. The question I keep in the back of my mind anytime I think about chasing a shortcut is, are you really that good? Are you him? Are you really going to beat the market, outtime the pros, predict the future better than anyone else? Or, like me, you just need a plan that works without being a genius. Because for most of us, you don't need to be exceptional, you just need to be consistent. So if you're watching this and you feel behind, you're still early in the game. You just have to stop trying to shortcut the game and start playing it the right way. That's it for this Why Learn Wednesday. If this hit home for you, drop a comment with your own investing philosophy or a time that you got burnt chasing quick wins. I'll reply to as many as I can. Thanks for watching. Now let's go get it.